Good, moving on.
As water quality was a big thing that was pushed forward and requested,
sewage, flooding,
and a big thing towards the nature.
That's not also council's responsibility.
No, but it was an election pledged by the controlling group that they would champion it, and a lot of this is working with partners and co-other organisation groups.
We are,
but it's just not mentioned in here at all.
I think a lot of that will be picked up through the resilience work. A lot of the impacts around flooding, excess water, drought, reservoirs, etc., will be picked up through the resilience work, which I mentioned is sort of starting. The stuff around water quality and the conversation around water quality at the moment, I'm not 100% sure where we are on quality.
So, for example, the incidents that led to Weymouth losing the blue flag status.
Okay.
Dorset Council were involved with the Environment Agency, Wessex Water, Litter Free Dorset are involved as well, and our flood risk people.
At one point, I thought you were going to get overview to create a policy on water quality. Because you came to us initially, and then it was like, we don't do policy creation, we do scrutiny of it. And I thought overview we're going to create a policy. Is that not coming as part of the negative stuff?
Create a policy because it's not policy, nothing we can actually control.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
As you know, Chairman, I got some faculty. I wanted to do two things. One was about grid capacity and also which we did at the same time. I wanted to do one on water quality. The officers originally come to me and said, it's our responsibility, it's the Environment Agency, to which my argument for that was, well, we have a duty of care responsibility to residents of Dorset, which the officers then agreed with. But with COVID, transformation, all the rest of it, we never got round to actually doing it, which was highly frustrating, I have to admit, on my part, because when I actually brought it to the table, it was way before you were walking into your house at night and turning on 6 o'clock news. It was all over the news about water quality. It was way before that I wanted to do it. As I said, and I asked to do it at the same time as we were going to do the grid capacity. We did the grid capacity, which I think as far as I'm aware, it's been recognised being a national piece of work now by the team, Carl Warren and the officers did a fantastic job on it, Anthony. But we didn't do the water quality one. I think it's something we should still return to. We do have that duty of care to our residential population to have an understanding around the water quality in Dorset. Just the same as we didn't have an understanding around grid capacity, and that piece of work highlighted a range of issues that we didn't know about. We weren't even having strategic meetings with the energy providers at the time. The officers we weren't even in the room at the time.
I think
also going to change now.
It's all really good, but I think the leadership said he's been told we're not allowed to. So that's the end of it.
We changed suggesting scrutiny.
No, but you've been told we're not allowed to do anything about policies on it.
We can. Shane's work was in scrutiny.
Yeah, but Shane was working with a different set of officers and different rules, obviously. This because you're the leader now, and you asked for it, and they've said no. Well,
you said no,
huh?
I asked you, and you said no.
No. It's not scrutiny. Does not develop policy. It's not something we do. We scrutinise policy, and so you said that you asked overview. You said no.
It wasn't about policy, Chairman. When I wanted to do it, it was about this council authority having an understanding of what the water quality was within Dorset and whether that was a risk to our residential population. And I still think it's a piece of work we could do.
Yeah. Mr. Parsons will finish. We can do it. Craig, but then Belinda.
Councillor, I think I asked you the last question I asked you about this. You said that this would be the last time I'd ask you. Joking aside, I understand this is a really difficult thing because there is massive overlap, and the Environment Agency and various other agencies will have a responsibility. But I just wonder if this is something that overview should look at again, because there are, broadly speaking, there's two aspects of water pollution that we have an indirect involvement in, I would suggest, and that's runoff of fields, of which some that we own, and rainwater through the drain system. And if the drains are blocked, then it overflows. So the Environment Agency will be responsible for our rivers, our lakes and our streams, but there is water that we deal with that is what it will be our responsibility at some point. So at the moment, I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound confrontational. I don't mean it to be. But at the moment, it seems to be the kind of position, not necessarily this council, but the general position is well, water's not, at the end of the day, water's not our problem. That's down to the Environment Agency, because it literally goes downstream somewhere else, and it's out of our hair, out of our hands. But there are things we can do within our responsibility that would make an improvement.
We have no control over. So you I don't know if you attended. I hope you did the webinar we ran about 2 months ago with Wessex Water, which was very informative, and he made a very good case that national housing standards need to change. Maybe through the local plan we can influence that, but stuff that comes off roofs and people's driveways are not Dorset Council's problem. They're Wessex Water's problem. They go into the drains, and the drainage system is old. So we run off on our own county farms. Yes, I guess we could, but we've got 42 of them. But scheme of thing.
I understand that. I mean, from a ward that's Victorian in its nature, I know that you can build 100 new houses up the road, and they'll have all separate runoffs and everything else. It all goes in the same Victorian pipes, but there are still aspects, and Wessex are doing a lot. They mass recruitment drive to get people in to work with local farms to make farms more efficient in terms of capturing their water. But there's ultimately, have we looked at what we might still have control in? Because if we're not unblocking drains and we're pushing polluted water, that's the rain falls onto our roads, our drains or our gullies are blocked, as one example. It washes down the roads, picks up all that oil and petrol and everything else, and then goes into the river. That's our roads. That's not the farmers' roads. It's not Environment Agency's roads. That overview or that policy piece ultimately hasn't happened for us to sit down as a council and say, we're not responsible for this, this and this, but we might be responsible for that and that.
So I'm going to jump in. It's 20 past 10, and I'm going to say that I think what we can take from this is a recommendation on this is we would like to see, as part of the nature emergency declaration, that it's looked at to see what we can do to influence the water quality and the discharges we are responsible for. Would that cover it? And that would then be giving a recommendation which might give the leader enough, I guess, weight, because apparently head of the chair of scrutiny can overrule the officers on what he's allowed to look at, which I don't understand that at all. I don't understand why the officers said no to you, but they might say yes to me. That doesn't make sense in my head. You outbanked me.
I think Linda might go first.
Yeah, no, it's just.
Is this related directly to that?
Yes, it is, because I've been talking to your group's portfolio holder for climate and ecological emergency, because Sherry's been also agreeing with me that we think there is a piece of work that Dorset could do along the lines that you were hoping to do, but looking at what we can do in terms of planning. So we passed that policy in July 2023, talking about managing water more effectively, and there are things that we passed unanimously that I don't think have been put into practice. There's an issue that most rural areas, in particular, well, almost everywhere in Dorset, is experiencing surface water flooding.
Yeah.
A lot of that is because we don't always know which drains we own. It's certainly the case in Lyme Regis, because I went down there the other day with them, and it's not on any map. We've been asking about it for 2 years, so we're getting there. But there are things like, do we know that the drains we own, and are we making sure they're unblocked? What else can we do in planning, as well as understanding what the local
I think a lot of this is questions to the planning officer or questions to full council or separately.
No,
because
because it goes across different departments.
Which is fine. So ask her at full council.
But surely it's an overall look at in a working group.
But that's not something that's not an us thing.
Okay.
We're here scrutinising the report here. Yeah.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm much in line with you, and I think recommendation I would like to see from this committee is that SLT have a conversation with cabinet guidance on where they think that work needs to be done, because I think a part of it is going to need to be done in overview, like you've already said, and I think a part of it could well come to scrutiny.
It'll go to a working group. We can't scrutinise something that doesn't exist.
No.
I know you created a working group because the previous administration absolutely wanted to support you with that, and you did a really good piece of work that was amazing. But the actual process I should have gone through is through a working group to create it. We are scrutiny. We scrutinise things. We do not do policy creation. And this is leading a policy creation, and it is baseline data assembly. That's officer led, not councillor led. And so I'll push back on that all day long.
Can I come back?
Yeah.
It was a bit like the grid capacity one. It was to get an understanding within Dorset of where we were with the water quality.
Yeah.
And once we had that understanding, then we could pass that over to overview to do policy.
And that understanding should be developed by officers or by a working group.
Yeah.
That is not an elected member function to do. You chose to do it, you wanted to do it, you did it very well. However, that is not a function of scrutiny.
So what I said originally, my recommendation was which almost was in line with yours, was that the recommendation from this committee was for Cabinet, an SLT, for SLT to advise Cabinet on the course of action through this.
If Cabinet want the advice of SLT, I don't think they need our recommendation for them to ask SLT. And the leader has said he did, and they said they're not allowed to. But I misunderstood that. It's an actual question.
No, what I said is we don't really control water quality.
Yeah.
We don't.
No, I'm not arguing that at all. No, you said that you asked.
We can't have a policy on controlling water quality when we don't control water quality.
Okay. And actually,
We'll see how we can.
And if you want to leave it there, that's fine. I think our recommendation is that you look again at making sure that water quality discharge is included in the emerging action plan that's going to be created. I think that's what we're asking for. If you don't want to, that's fine.
But water quality is more than just water discharge.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, loads more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
But that's what a lot don't understand. They talk about discharge, but if you talk to Wessex Water, it's the nitrates in the water that are going to be the issue in coming time. Yeah. Because we're getting above the 50.
And microplastics, there's all sorts of things in there.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think the recommendation we're putting forward is that we ask them to, we ask the portfolio holder to rethink not including it and to include it. I'm surprised, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go and think because I'm still not quite sure
Okay.
how I can control microplastics in water.
It's not about controlling it. It's about we're trying to create. We can't control a load of stuff in the nature emergency and the climate emergency. We can't control how we decarbonise Dorset as a whole. We work on how we can improve it. I don't think I'd have to explain that here. And that's the reason we're working with partners on this piece of work, is because it affects things we can't directly control. And so we're saying that part of that stuff we don't directly control also includes water quality. Can we please include it? It seems really quite a basic thing to request. And I'm surprised there's any pushback. I thought it'd be a straight up yes, of course we will. Is there anyone that's against that being part of that bigger recommendation that we don't ask them? Does anyone not agree?
Go through what you're asking. You wanted to.
We want them to include, as part of the action plan and work on the nature emergency declaration, that they include part of trying to work and influence on water quality, surface water runoff, and that whole topic. Is it that we legally can't recommend this? Is it that we can legally not recommend this?
No, I'm just reading.
So Anthony, I love you. Sorry, I shouldn't say that's not you. Anthony, you're amazing.
I've just got a suggestion.
Okay, what's the suggestion?
So within the local nature recovery strategy, it's going to set up 12 priorities looking at different types of habitat.
Yeah.
That includes rivers, wetlands, coastal habitats. Yeah. Would it be an idea if we went away and came back with a bit of a brief on what the scope of that is, so that at least you can see what's already included in the
I think
work on the local nature recovery strategy?
We would like to recommend that a study and survey is done in line with what Councillor Bartlett suggested previously, and that is carried out by the appropriate portfolio holder, working group, officer group. Yeah, as such. We've been told there won't be a policy out of it, but there can be a baseline created.
Isn't that what they're doing already, though?
Well, the council member said no.
No.
The leader said no earlier, Barry.
I was talking about local nature recovery strategy.
Yeah, I was Barry to ask something else.
I'm talking about the local nature recovery.
Also, we're talking about the water quality work that
But
was.
isn't that,
It's in the recovery strategy.
isn't that covered under what they're doing?
Well, from what Anthony just listed, it wasn't.
It is one of the 12 priorities.
It should be listed in terms of including and enhancing
Yeah.
habitats, rivers.
So enhancing habitats is very different.
I presume I'm
But it
also
talks
I
about-
don't know the detail, but I could go in.
It's not
What they're doing
talking
is
about
working,
Dorset.
you're working with farmers to do with flooding and all that, and that is.
A small part of what we're discussing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, a small
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, well, that's what he's doing, so
It's a small
surely
part.
that, what Anthony's doing is working to improve water quality.
I think the difference for me, can I ask a question, an overview about policy? For me, I think the difference is that within the wider nature strategy, there's a lot of talk of working with partners and individual responsibilities. But I, for me, feel that what that possibly also does, with the greatest respect to the policy, is negates responsibility from us as Dorset Council or what we can or can't do. So I think both things should happen together.
It's not an either or, is it?
No. And it might be that the recommendation, the conclusion is there's definitely absolutely nothing we can do. But then probably I would suggest there wouldn't be.
And I think what the difference there is as can I just call you Shane? Sorry, I'm trying to be respectful, but I'm also very tired. The thing that Shane is saying is that when they did that for the grid capacity, which we have no control over, it was about highlighting where the problems are, where the positives are, so then everyone can work together on the same map going forward. And that is what the leader once requested that we did. And I said, no, we're not creation, we are scrutiny. Go take it to overview, they can do it. Overview said no or weren't allowed to do it. And so I'm recommending again, cool, if they're not allowed to do it,
I think
do it within the cabinet, find a mechanism to do it.
I think the difference that is important and will hopefully help officers and cabinet is to that I personally, and maybe as a committee we can collectively accept that we don't control all of the water. What we're saying is we can improve it. So we can't stop these things. We can't control how all the water flows through the county, but we can look at things in house that we can do that will make an improvement, which will feed into the nature policy.
Exactly.
And then that.
So it is now 10:30. We've extended by an hour. We need to stop. So I'm going to be really clear on this. All those in favour of the recommendation that we ask the cabinet member, the portfolio holder, for this, Nick. We asked Nick to action Councillor Bartlett's previous idea through the means of a working group or how is legally applicable through the service as part of the nature recovery workshop. All those in favour of that as an option that are on members of the committee. Sorry, so that's only 4 of us. So that's 2 in favour. Those against? None. Those abstaining? I was hoping that you two would either support, against, or abstain.
So I haven't decided on that.
Oh, okay, sorry. You're looking for
That's
submission on
what
how to
you
vote.
want to do.
Well,
I'm just seeking, I just want to see gauge Shane's views.
Cool. So that,
Yeah,
cool.
fine.
So that's 3 in favour. So that passes whatever else happens. Cool. So that is a recommendation. I think that we need to draw a line under this recovery and wait for the quantitative.